今から CS5 代表的な機能をいくつかご紹介させていただきたいと思います。今この画面ご覧いただいていますのが After Effects CS5 というですね、動画の合成等を行うアプリケーションになります。で、先ほどジョニーからも話がありましたけれども、今回の新機能のうちの一つにですね、ものすごく時間を削減できるですね、機能がございます。それがこちらにございますですね、ロトブラシツールというものです。動画の合成の中にはですね、ロトスコーピングという、動画の中で切り抜きを行うという作業が必ず発生するんですけれども、このロトブラシツールでも使いますと、今まで何日も何日もかかった作業があっという間に終わらすことができます。では実際にオペレーションしてみます。例えばここで人物を切り抜きたい場合ですね、切り抜きたい部分に対しましてこのブラシツールを選択した状態で非常にザバーッとですねラフになぞっていただくだけで結構です。そうしますとご覧いただいてますとですね、この紫色の枠がすぐに選ばれると思います。なぞるだけでまず簡単に選択ができるというのが特徴の一つですね。でこれだけでも非常に効率的なのは間違いないんですけれども、ここから先が非常に革命的な部分でございます。で選択した後にスペースバーを押すだけで、実は自動的にですね、その次のフレーム次のフレームと選択範囲を追随してくれるんですね。ですので、一度選んでスペースバーを押す、これだけでですねもうあっという間に動画の切り抜きができている非常に画期的な機能でございます。これがロトブラシツールですね。では、続きましてですね、今度はイラストレーター CS5 をご紹介したいと思います。はい、でイラストレーターはですね、今回はさらに表現力が、高まったというバージョンになっておりまして、例えばご覧いただいている通りですね、この奥行き感があるようなイラストを、簡単に、作ることができます。でどのように作るのかと申しますとですね、この奥行きを表現するようなグリッドという機能がついたんですね。この遠近グリッドツールでも使っていただきまして、あとはこの遠近感に沿ってですねオブジェクトを配置していくだけで、大丈夫なんです。例えばこの CS5 という文字ですね、これを選択しまして、こちらをですねドラッグします。そうしますとすでにこの壁に貼り付いている形になるのがお分かりいただけますでしょうか。で、このどの面に配置するかということも自由自在でございまして、例えば右の面に、持っていきたいという場合には、こんな感じでポンと持っていけばすぐに貼り付けられる非常に使いやすいツールでございます。でまたですね、この面に沿うだけではなくて、この、消失点に向かってですねこの平行的にオブジェクトを置いていくなんていうことも可能になりますので、最初にご覧いただきましたようなですねこういった建築物のイラストももちろんなんですけれども、例えばこのようなタイポグラフィーをですね非常に奥行き感があるような形で表現するということも簡単にできるというようなバージョンになっております。では、次にですね、こちら Photoshop の CS5 をご覧いただきたいと思います。でこちらの機能ですね、YouTube 等にも実はプレビューでムービーが出ておりまして、200万回以上の再生を、誇っているというですね、非常に人気がある機能でございます。でピクサーという、映画の会社も、これは技術と呼んだらいいのか魔術と呼んだらいいのか分からないといったような、非常に強力な機能がございます。で今から私はこの馬をですねこれ1枚のレイヤーになっている1枚絵なんですけれども、ここから馬を消してみたいと思います。まずはですね、馬を、囲うわけですね。この選択範囲を取ります。で、ここから私今からデリートキー、削除するというだけの、操作を行うんですけれども、デリートキーを押した状態で、従来までのバージョンですとですね、単純に削除しますのでこのような形で完全に白く抜けてしまいます。ところが、今回の CS5 はですね、削除する際にコンテンツに応じるというオプションを選択可能になっています。でこの状態で OK を押すとどうなるかというとですね、周りから整合性が取れた画像を持ってきまして、このようにまるで馬がいなかったのように簡単に消すことができます。でこの機能を応用していただきますと、例えばですねこういったパノラマ写真との合成ですね、どうしても今まで余白の部分が出てきて、しまったんですけれども、例えばこの余白の部分を選んでいただいて、これも同じくデリートキーを押してコンテンツに応じるというふうにやっていただくだけでですね、従来はどうしてもこのちっちゃい部分に合わせて切り取るしかなかったんですけれども、この余白部分を、ちゃんと見て埋めてくれるんですね。で、これ今までは全くできなかったような機能なんですけれども、この Photoshop を使っていただくことによりまして、このような表現が可能となっております。
Okay, so the wire addition. And now I'm going to actually peruse this just like I would a normal magazine. Unlike the website, which has small segments that you look at, advertisements are seen as little small interstitials. Here, I get a full page ad as though I'm looking at the ad online. And I get to take advantage of the medium, which is if I have a larger image that I want to look at, I can peruse around and see that. In addition to actually thumbing like I would normally thumb through a magazine and seeing the ads and articles, I have the ability to actually peruse the bottom here. You'll see this pop up in a second. I actually have the ability to actually peruse and actually go right to a spot in the magazine and very quickly peruse to a spot. So let's go here. I'll fast forward. And here's an article on bears. Now, one of the things they did in this article is it has a horizontal and vertical format. So as you can see, when I'm looking at the magazine vertically, it looks this way. Now, when I rotate this, and I should turn on end, whoops, turn on end, you can see that the graphic actually changes. And so the artist can actually pick an entirely different graphic based on horizontal versus vertical format. So now as I peruse through the article, there's other things I can do. For example, here is a piece on bear-proof containers. And what I can do is also take advantage of the fact that I have the ability to use 3D, and I can come through and have the customer actually take advantage of the form itself and get advantage that you don't see today in interactive content on the web. In addition, I can do things like peruse an article here where video can actually be integrated directly into an experience. Very seamless in the fact that I'm reading an article, I get to see this. And then lastly, again, other pieces of content here that take advantage of the medium, in the fact that I can have an image here where, as I'm looking at the image, I can pick multiple images as I'm viewing. And again, what we're trying to show you is a prototype of something we're working on that gives you the ability to actually have a very differentiated experience. So Wired now can have a very differentiated experience than what GQ may decide to do in their form. So again, we're showing you a prototype here. We're working with agencies and with publishers around the world to actually take this to the next level of developing this and making it into a full-fledged application.
In this case, he sees that the economy is recovering in 2010 and wants to look at a company called Finance Corp. Again, a fictitious company name for purposes of this example. And he sees that Akira Tanaka, who happens to be a Japanese analyst, has offered some comments on Finance Corp. Now, this information that he sees in his Trader desktop could either be an application, a PDF form, it could be a particular video. In this case, Akira Tanaka has embedded in that one of his analysts' particular recommendations on Finance Corp. So Conrad Sims is interested, but he doesn't know that much about Akira Tanaka. So within this application, he can actually drill down into some of the roles and responsibilities and history of Tanaka-san. He can actually use, in the context of the same application, the ability to have a very brief chat with Akira. Whoops, excuse me. We'll just go with hi because of the character recognition issue here. And in this case, he and Akira can go back and have a real-time chat about the ideas, about why Finance Corp seems like a particularly good buy. He can also change the tiles at any point to look at things like performance. Here he can see the performance history of Finance Corp and noting in Akira's report that Finance Corp has decided it wants to compete with Google in certain areas. He can actually bring down the chart of Google and Finance Corp and in real time generate from back-end trading systems a composite view of the comparative trading performance between Finance Corp and Google. He can also change the view if he doesn't particularly like that view of his composite screens. He can change it into more of a sort of an album starter view, if you will, a tile view that allows him to look at different reports and information. And in this case, seeing that he has seen some of the publication information and the stock charting history, he wants to look a little bit to see whether or not there might be any recent news feeds. Again, what I'm showing you here are automatically generated tiles, flash-based tiles, that take information from back-end systems and composite them, organize them into personalized views that make the job of an institutional trader that much more effective. In this case, he's decided that Conrad Sims has decided he's got to move on to some other work, so he can pull this particular tile out and hold it on the side in an air-based container, the Adobe Integrated Runtime, which is an out-of-browser runtime that allows this information to persist while moving on to other work. Now, he can set particular alerts at that tile, which may be when Finance Corp gets to a certain price, I'm going to decide to actually buy it. And when it hits that price, in this case, let's say it's $35.98, he can then go back, he can go back into the composite view and try to make the trade. Now, in many early online applications, this is where the experience would stop. But 20,000 shares is beyond Conrad Sims's authority limit. So now this would naturally kick off an approval process inside an organization where Conrad Sims' manager would actually have to approve the trade. So if we move quickly to his manager, you can see another composite view, a personalized view for Mr. Woodward, who is Conrad Sims' manager, that allows the same flexibility of moving and creating tiles that map to his personal preferences on how he wants to engage with information. In this particular case, he trusts Conrad Sims. He also believes that Tanaka-san is a good analyst, and so he's decided he will approve the order. So a lot of good examples here of how customer interaction solutions can be created around all the information that's available inside of an enterprise, but has not been effectively presented or communicated to a lot of users. One of the questions that comes up when I show this demo is, how is all this information actually created? And one of the great things in the customer interaction solution platforms that we're providing to many of our customers is content can be easily authored inside of Flash using many of the tools that Johnny Loiacono talked about. It can be built as Flex or Flash applications. It can be built as PDF documents. And it allows, through back-end connectivity to trading systems, to model in a very intuitive way the views of